In this video, you will learn how to implement feature flag on the client and on the backend. And the first question here is obviously what is feature flag and why do we need it? At some point of developing application, you want to roll some new changes, but you are not sure that these changes are working properly, or you really need to test them, which is called a B test. You want to test it, for example, just with some users and not with all users. This is why we need feature flag. We want to enable some new feature, not for the whole project, but just for the part. This is why in this video, without any libraries, we will implement feature flag together on the client and on the backend. And for the client here I have a React application, but it doesn't really matter because this code will be the same in any framework or without framework. What we have here is homepage and about. This is it. These are just two routes. And let's say that our about page is a new feature and we want to hide this functionality. So we want to enable accessing only with feature flag. What does it mean? We can use, for example, a local storage or a cookie where we will set some parameter and we will check it to enable this feature. How we can implement it? As you can see here, I am inside app component and here we have just two links. So first of all, we want to disable this link if we don't have, for example, a local storage property, and secondly, this route about. And for this, I want to create a new file inside source, and let's name this file featureflag.js. And this is just a helper to work with local storage. And what I want to do here, I want to create a new function which is called hasFeatureFlag. And this function must check if we have feature flag enabled or not. So here, first of all, we're providing a feature name. Let's say we want to roll our new about page functionality. This is why inside we want to pass just a string, for example, about page. And here what we're checking is local storage dot get item, and inside we're providing this feature name. If you don't want to use local storage, you can also use cookie, for example. So our function is successfully created, but here I want to create additional helper, and it will be has about page feature. Because actually, if we are talking about enabling one feature, we won't enable like hundreds of them. This is why it makes a lot of sense to have this property predefined and we can use it everywhere. And here we want to use hasFeatureFlag, and inside we are providing property about page. So this property will be either true or false. And now we want to use this property in two places. First of all, inside our app.js to hide this link. This is why here we can wrap it with the condition and check here for our hasAboutPage feature. And here we just put and we are rendering a link. And as you can see here, I have on the top auto import hasAboutPage feature from feature flag. And actually this property on initialize will check our local storage and it will be either true or false. And this is exactly what we're writing here. The second thing that we want is hiding our about page. And actually we want to redirect a user to the home page if he doesn't have a feature flag. This is why let's jump inside our about, and here on the top we must import navigate from React Router DOM. This is exactly the good way to navigate a user to another page. What we can write here, we can check for the same hasFeatureFlag. So here import hasAboutPage feature from our feature flag. And now here on the top, just inside our about component, we can check, okay, do we have this feature? If not, this is why here is ban, that we want to return our navigate component. And inside this component, we just need to provide a page where we must navigate a user, which actually means we will navigate a user to the home page if we don't have this about page feature. Let's check now if this functionality is working. I am here inside browser and we see only the home link. We don't see about because we don't have feature flag. Now here I am writing /about, I'm hitting enter, but I am still on the home page because I can't access about page and I was redirected to our home page. But now we want to enable our project with new feature for some users, for example for a B test. This is why we're jumping inside application local storage, and here we're creating our new key. And just to remind you, inside our feature flag we have about page feature. This is why here we're writing about page, and our value can be whatever, for example 1. After this, we are reloading the page, and as you can see here, we have home and about, and our feature is enabled. And now we can jump inside about page, and it is working just fine. As you can see, we didn't use any libraries or services to implement feature flag, and this is exactly how you will typically do it in all client projects. But now the question is obviously how we can implement it with the backend, because sometimes you have lots of clients and you need to implement your feature flags just in a single place on the backend, and then you will call from the client with the API this information from the backend, for example, to get the list of features which are enabled, and then you will do exactly the same with the client, but without local storage and just by using data from the API. So how we can implement that? And for this I want to create a small Express server. This is why I will jump inside console and add here Express package. After this I want to create inside source a new file which will be server.js. Now here let's just create a small node application. First of all, here we want to import our Express, and this is a require from our Express package that we just installed. And now here we must create an application by calling Express. And here we can now use app listen in order to listen on some port for our application. For example, let's say here we have 3001 port and here is our callback. And let's just write inside that our server is started. Now let's check if our API is working. So here will be app-get, for example, / and here we just need response. This is why our second parameter is response here, and we need to render something just for testing. This is why here resend API is up. And now let's try to start that server. This is why I will jump inside console and write node, and here we have our source, server.js. And as you can see here, we are getting started server. Now here I can write localhost 3001, I'm hitting here enter, and we are getting API is up, which actually means our API is successfully prepared. Now what we want to do here, we want to implement a new route which will return for us a list of features. And actually you can store these features just in code, or you can store them in database, it doesn't really matter. For us, we will simply have here an array. This is why here let's create a new route which is called features, and here we just need to return inside response an array. So I will do exactly the same. Here will be resend, and here is an array of our features. For now I want to make this array empty so we don't have any enabled features. And at this point I need to restart my web server. Now inside browser I can write /features, and I'm getting here an empty array. This is exactly what we want. Now inside our client we must get this information to know what features are enabled. This is why let's jump back inside our client and change our logic. We won't use this feature flag helper because we don't work with local storage anymore, but inside our application we need to fetch this information. This is why here we can just use useEffect. So here let's write useEffect, and inside we want to have a function. And we want just to call this useEffect on initialize. This is why here is an empty array. Now inside I want to use fetch, and fetch we have by default, and here is our API. It is localhost 3001 /features. And after this we are calling here then, we are getting response, and we want to call res.json to convert it to JSON. And after this we are getting our features. And what I want to do, I want to console log here our list of features that we got from our backend. Let's check this out. I'm reloading the page here, and we're getting an error. And here we're getting an error that we can't do fetch because we have a coarse policy. We have cross-origin request from 3000 port to 3001, which is totally correct. We have different hosts, which means we can't do this request. But we can easily solve this by installing additional package. This is why I want to jump inside our project and install here coarse package. And this is exactly what we're using on the backend to configure our coarse rules. Now here we must jump back inside our server.js, and here we want to use this package. This is why here let's get coarse from require coarse. And now here on the top we can just write app use, and we're providing inside coarse. And after this everything should work. So here I want to start our server again and reload the page. And as you can see, we don't have any errors, and here inside console, we're getting our array, which is the API call to get a list of features. And actually now we need to store somehow this information inside our client. And actually for this we can use useStateHook. This is why here I want to create a features property, and this is setFeatures, and this is a useStateHook. And inside we're providing that our features array is empty. Now instead of this console log, we can just call here setFeatures and save here our list of features. And now inside our app component, we have the whole list of features. And after this, what we can do, we can create a new property, hasAboutPage feature, and here we can just check our list of features. So here we can write includes, and we're checking for our about page feature. And actually this property will be Boolean. This is why this logic, just like we wrote previously, is completely valid. But now here inside about, we must provide this information. This is why here I want to create a new property, hasAboutPage feature. And now we must handle it inside our about component. So here let's destructure our hasAboutPage feature, and we won't import it on the top, we're getting it from the props. And actually this is the whole changes. It is working exactly like previously, but here we're using our API call. Let's check if it's working. I will reload the page here, and we don't have any errors. And here we just see our home page because the feature is not there. We're writing here /about, and we're redirected to the home page. Now let's jump back inside our server and here provide in our array about page. So we're enabling our feature on the backend. Now here we must restart our server and try again. I will reload the page, and now here we have access to our about page because we enabled it on the backend. And as you can see, it is working fine. So these are two typical ways how you can implement feature flag on the client and on the backend. And actually, if you're interested to learn how you can use ESLint and Prettier to check your files just before the commit, make sure to check this video also.